Hey there, Anna here, working on WACN things, and I thought, you know, right now I have nothing that I'm doing. What's a better time to show you how to set up a SAGE EAS ENDEC before DerpyFireAlarm gets one and all the other encoders and shows you how to do it, and then gets all the views. So yeah, I'm kind of bored, so we're gonna do this. I would have done TFT EAS 911, but the mine's kind of dead. The front panel encoder board is dead. The Berk EAS is also dead. It corrupted its own ROM. So, you know, great example of why you shouldn't get a Berk. And don't know why a whole bunch of people advocate the Berk, even though it is literally, in my opinion, one of the worst encoders you can buy. There's no documentation on it. It's a bad encoder. Except this, the analog volume knob is very nice. But, I've got WACN running here, you can see. I'm down here running on 2 monitors, running in stereo, because you can't run a radio station without it being stereo. Especially an IP one. But, yeah, I've got my Wi-Fi leech here, but I'm going to show you how to set up WACN. So let me see if I can get a better view on this. Maybe get a light or something. Okay, sorry about the glare. It's going to happen. I couldn't really find a good light source other than the camera on my phone, or the light on my phone. So you're going to get that glare. But we're going to be setting up WACN. Okay, I got to turn that off. You won't be able to see anything. So, whenever you get your SAGE ENDEC, you should plug it in. The time won't be set and everything, but you should, or it might be, according if the battery's alive or dead or not. That's a whole different video. But you should just power up and see this screen immediately. Your lights might be flickering. The goal in this video is to make sure your lights aren't flickering. If these are flashing in any way, that is bad. So a good rule of thumb is the automatic light should automatically turn on. If that doesn't automatically turn on and just stays off, that's okay. If any of these lights are flashing, you need to find out why. The easiest way to find out why is to click this message button, this MSG. You won't get all these alerts because it's only because WACN has been up for a while. But if I clear the buffer, and I'll just go back here, and there's a button on the back to turn it off and then on again. You'll watch it boot up. Or you would watch it boot up if my phone would focus. Autofocus, please. Thank you. So I'll go through the self-test sequence. No, please focus. And you'll see whenever I turn it on, the message light is automatically on. If you click that, it'll say system startup, and you'll get all these things. And if it says bottom and there's nothing under here that says error or something, you are fine, and you just need to start configuring. I'm not going to cover that. If you have an error that you don't understand, you can feel free to message me, and I'll wind up helping you out with that. Sorry about the noise. My dog's having a good little snack over there, so, I mean, it is dinner time. It's 9:30, so first thing you'll want to do is you'll want to click this button that says menu, and it should bring you into, well, the menu. You don't want to touch anything until you go into the config option. Whenever you go into config, you're going to go to attention duration. You set this to 8. You can set it lower or higher. The admin, if it asks for an admin, the default is 1111. So the attention duration should be at 8. I'd say either set it to 8 or 0. Don't do any more than 8 because these things really hate whenever you, or most encoders hate whenever you put your attention tone over 8. So you set your attention tone to 8. And auto start, you'll see multiple options. So attention duration, that's how long your attention tone lasts for. Auto start and auto stop, these are, you can have the station automatically turn on and off automatic mode, which means that whenever it goes into manual mode, aka this automatic light turns off, and the station will not automatically send alerts, and you'll have to do it manually, and unless it's set up in the filters to bypass that. But I just recommend to leave this alone unless you don't want it to go off at night, and in that case, what you want to do is set your auto start to, you can have it none, and then you can configure the hour and minute. You can set it to like 6 a.m. or something like that, and then the auto stop is whenever it goes out of automatic mode. So that's what those are. You're going to want to set your call sign. By default, it is set to SAGE, I believe, but if you go in here, you'll see call sign. The way that the cursor works is you have 3 buttons that really control it. You've got up, which goes to the next letter. You've got down, which goes to the previous letter. A lot of people forget about this button and will just loop back until you hit the letter you want. You can do letters, numbers, slash, and parentheses. So I'm going to go back to WACN. There you go. And then this cursor button goes to the next place. You can see the little cursor moving. So you can go up to 8 characters, and that's just standard EAS procedures. I'd say go at least 4, because 4 sounds nice. Then you're going to have Cody mode. If you don't have a Chiron Cody, this doesn't matter. I don't have a Chiron Cody. So the 2 different Cody modes is there's fancy and there's plain. With plain, if you had a Chiron Cody and the bar pops up here, it'll just be a solid green bar with the text in the middle. And fancy, it would be like, it would look almost like blurred along the edges. I just leave it on whatever default. Then you have Cody crawl speed, which if you don't have a Chiron Cody, it doesn't matter. It's how fast it scrolls along the top. Then you've got crawl reps or crawl repetitions. If you don't have a Chiron Cody, it doesn't matter. Anything that has crawl or Cody in it does not matter if you don't have a Chiron Cody or a character generator. I don't have either, so I'm not going to use them. Crawl RWT means that it would scroll in RWT if you had one. Default duration. This isn't really used anymore, but I'd recommend to set it to 15 minutes or 0015. Oh yeah, whenever you exit out of some of these options, it will back you out to the menu and you're going to have to go back in. So default record. This allows you to set the default monitor. So if you tell it to record, like if you send an alert and it doesn't have audio and you just tell it to record off of something, you can set this to be the default. I have it out on encoder in, because I'll show you in a bit what the back of the panel of this thing does. I gotta go down, hold on. You've got language, you can be in English or Spanish. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure I speak English. Sorry about the cut in this video. That was my phone telling me, hey, you don't have enough storage space, you idiot. So, I'm gonna go back into config here, and, towards the bottom here, where we were, LED sign mode. This is if you had your beta bright or anything like that, you would hook it up to here. So you can go into LED sign mode. I'm not sure what all of this is. It has to do something with LED signs. So I'm just going to leave it at default, and LED sign sound. So whenever the LED sign would receive data, it would play a noise. And then you have LED sign time, which basically whenever the sign isn't being used by the ENDEC, it would just display the time on it, which I would do if I had one, but I don't. And then we've got menu timeout. Menu timeout. So ENDEC has something where it's called a watchdog timer. And what it does is if you're in the menu for a certain amount of time, it will assume that it is stuck and it will automatically it will automatically reset itself. So if I were to in this for 60 seconds, it would try and back out of that menu, but if I'm actively doing something in that menu, it will literally just restart the unit. So I recommend to either turn that up or leave it at 60 if you're willing to get stuff done fairly quickly. Mode, that's the mode that pertains to here. So you've got auto, timed, and manual. So auto is automatic. So while the automatic mode is on, anything that this thing receives, it will relay if it is set up correctly, unless it's like log only or timed ignore. Timed ignore on automatic is acted as a just log only, so it won't do anything with it. Then you have timed, and timed allows you to program this thing so if it receives an alert on timed mode, it will wait the amount of time that you program in until it does something. So you can have it receive a required monthly test and wait exactly 1 hour until it sends an alert. Until it sends that alert. And the automatic light will turn off and everything. And then you have manual, which means that this thing, it will treat the timed alerts as, oh, you can see it just backed out of that. It will treat the timed alerts as timed alerts, but basically anything else that isn't set up as a timed alert, it will just wait. So I leave it on automatic because it makes my life easier. Now you have NWS hunt time. And what NWS hunt time does is, if you put one of the ports, so there's 3 ports on the back of this thing, because you have 6 monitors, and 3 of them can be programmed for NWS. And what that means is it will chop out any attention tone, no matter if it's 1050, EBS, or anything else like that. It will automatically cut it out. And what NWS hunt time does is it will wait. Whenever it receives the alert, it will wait that specified amount of time until it starts recording. So that's what NWS hunt time is. So set it to 9, you will get it perfect every time. NWS practice, I'm not exactly sure. Oh, I think it's for NWS practice demos. So if there's like a practice demo alert that comes through from the NWS, it will relay it. Then you've got NWS select, and these are those 3 ports I was talking about. Monitor 1, 3, and 5. I'm not using anything else other than 1 for no weather radio. So I leave monitor 1 on NWS and all the other ones on no. Then you have NV audio length, which if you get an ENDEC with an NV audio chip, it will allow you to record an NV audio setting, which allows you to play a message at the beginning or end of your alert. So I don't have an NV audio chip, so I leave it at 0. And then NV audio lead-in is, you can set it to pre or post or none. I have it on none because I don't have an NV audio chip, and that's what I was saying before. So pre is before the alert, post is after the alert. So you can say, this is an emergency alert before the alert, or you can have it like, the following is an emergency alert, and then send an alert, or you can have it send an alert and said, that was an emergency alert, or something. Or the preceding was an emergency alert, something like that. Originator. Originator, you have default 3 options: broadcaster cable, civil authorities, and National Weather Service. I recommend to keep it on broadcaster cable. You can have more than that, but it's not recommended to, because the only way you can have more than that, because you can set this thing to PEP or EAN originator codes by turning EAN mode on, which is technically, it's not illegal, but it's really not. You don't want to do that. Printer. You can turn your printer on or off. That's about it. I recommend to leave the printer off because it just wastes paper. Print all alerts. If you wanted to keep your printer on, it would print all alerts. Print ZCZC, it would print the ZCZC protocol if you had your printer on. I don't even have paper. Processor lead. This is one thing that SAGE does that no other encoder does. Processor lead allows you to play a tone. So I have a compressor unit that goes through WACN, so everything's nice and even. It's actually not really compressing right now, more of, it's got an expander, so if the audio's quiet, it will automatically turn it down. or if it's too loud, it will automatically turn it down using my limiter here. But processor lead, if this thing were to have to automatically calibrate, processor lead would play some of the preamble bytes, so the hexadecimal AB, for however long you set it to. So 0 would be 0 seconds, 1 would be 1 second, and it would be the exact same time a header is before the alert. So it would be before the alert to allow your station to calibrate. If you don't have something like this, which I don't even need to do because it's very fast, that's kind of helpful, but you don't normally need this. Scan select allows you to select which monitors on the back of your unit are on. I just recommend to set everything in here to yes. Hold on, I gotta go back in. Gotta click the down arrow. Status on console, you're never gonna use that. No, I'm not even kidding. None of us have an app that works with the console, so you're never gonna use it. Strict time, if you want it to be realistic and you don't want to send anything that isn't valid for right now, set that to yes. Otherwise, set it to no. That limits the amount of time. So if the alert is valid, it will allow it through. Otherwise, it won't. VDS relay on. If you have a VDS encoder, I think that has something to do with it. I don't know though. I never use that option. Unknown FIPS, set that to yes. Allowed EAN. This is allowed build EAN. This is what I was talking about. That option. You can turn this to yes, and it will allow you to send an emergency action notification from this unit. Do not set that to yes. You can if you want to, but do not. I'm just saying, do not. So that's basically all of the config. So, next we're going to go through other things. Let me pause real quick and offload this clip to my computer. Okay, we're back. Sorry, each of these little clips are about a gig in size, somehow, even with this horrible camera quality. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna go through some other configuration options. So, presets. This is where you're gonna want to go second of all. Presets is your filters, and that is the only reason why the SAGE is the best encoder out of everything, because it's got the most superior filter system out of any encoder. So you have incoming, outgoing, and local area. What you're gonna want to set up is local area. If your lights are blinking because you've got a brand new SAGE, it's probably because you don't have a local area. So if you go into local area, typing the admin code of 1111, you'll probably see something updating local or add new event code or new location code. What you're gonna do is you're gonna click new, and it'll allow you to select state or go through. And let's say I'm in Benton County, Arkansas, so I'd go to Arkansas. And then you can have all of Arkansas, and then just click next until you see Benton. Now I already have Benton in here, so I'm just gonna go back into here. And whenever you set all of those, you're gonna click done. And or if you want to see if all of them are in, you can click this previous button, and you'll see all the counties that you have set up. Cool. So after that, you click done, and it backs you out of there. So now you have your local area set up. Next thing you're going to want to set up is your incoming filters. This is the most important part. Man, everybody just, like, I have to do a lot of chores today. Anyway, next you're going to be setting your incoming filters. This is what makes the ENDEC the most beautiful thing ever. If you click enter, you're going to be greeted with this. All you need to do is click new, name your filter, and then after you've done that, I'll just do A. It will allow you to set originators. So if you only wanted National Weather Service to come through, just click new, National Weather Service, click done, and now it's going to ask you for event. you do not have to set any of these. You can even set a filter with nothing in it, and it will just relay everything. So, let's say I wanted to do only National Weather Service. I selected National Weather Service as my originator, and I can click Done for events. You can see it just skips. Now, it says adding locations. It will say need a location, or you can just skip it and not have a location in there, which means it'll relay for every location. And then you'll get this priority. Higher priority means there's different levels of priority. It's like this is immediately relayed, and that's why you need EAN here. And then 62 through 60 is like it avoids hold off and stuff. And then past there is just normal. But I'm just going to set this something extremely low. You click done, and then this is where you select your action. You can do automatic relay, timed ignore, and manual relay and log only. So automatic relay automatically sends it. Doesn't matter what you're doing, if it's in manual or automatic or timed, it will automatically send it. Timed is this timed relay and ignore do not work in automatic mode, but in timed and manual they do. What they do is they wait a certain amount of time before they do something. So if I set this to 10 minutes, it will wait 10 minutes, then relay it. And if I set this to timed ignore, it will wait 10 minutes and then ditch it. And that gives you time to review it. Then you have manual relay, which is essentially the same thing as timed ignore, except timed ignore kind of ditches all the audio and stuff. Manual relay doesn't. And then log only, it won't even see the incoming alert light come on, it will just log it. So in this case I'm just gonna set it to automatic. And then you'll get attention duration. So a little hint that I learned, if you set your attention duration to 0 for all of your non-local areas, because I'm in Nationwide Encoder Relay Program in NERP, I receive from WDFA, and uh-oh, did my other monitor go down? That it did. I receive from WDFA and WJON, and WJON is currently down. Interesting. But WDFA is up. So, since WDFA has their own attention tone, but then has another attention tone, if you set it to 0, it'll just send WDFA's attention tone, and it won't have two attention tones on there. So the way I have it set up is it will be 0 for non-local and 8 for local. That way, if I receive a local alert, oh, it backed out there. If I received a local alert, it will send the attention tone. The other thing that it asks after that is, like, if you want to have a, it's like an event key for, like, the handheld remotes. And after you set that, it will just assign the filter. And it works in those hierarchies of basically what's higher in that number scale of like 63 to 0 or like 10. I don't remember how low it goes. But yeah, that's how you set up your filters. So if you do it right, you'll have something like EAN, ENT, RMT, and you'll have your local filters. Anything with LOC is local. And then I have a non-EAN PEP. This is actually directly under PEP. So if a primary entry point issues a national test, it's still counted as something like a PEP, an EAN. Then you've got RMT, CIV, and all of those. Done. And then you can set your outgoing alerts. These ones are filters to allow you to send an alert faster. So I've got 3, EAN, RWT, and DMO on monthly, and 2 monthlies apparently. Okay, but I'll figure out why. But basically all you need to do an outgoing template is you name it. And then this is what the templates do. They allow you to set a template for issuing an alert. So if I wanted to be issuing this as broadcaster, civil authorities. Well, let's do civil authorities. National periodic test. Let's just mash until we find something nice. We're doing. Oh, we landed on practice demo warning. So now you can do attention duration. You can do something ridiculous. And then you can have it send no audio, so it'll immediately send EOMs after this. You can have it send the stored audio, so the last alert audio that you received. And then you can send any of these which play live audio. I don't know what console does. NV audio. I don't know what console does. I would like to know what console does, but I don't know. So, and after that, it will allow you to set a one-button key and stuff, and then it will just assign the filter. Yeah, so that's filters, essentially, in a nutshell. And I've already hit that frickin' gig limit again, so I'm going to offload this to my computer. I really wish that 8 minutes would not be 1 gigabyte of storage, but it is, so I really need to get like a 64 gig card for this thing then. So we went through our presets, our config. You can do relay. Unless you have something to hook into the back relays of this thing, there's really nothing. Oh, I typed in the wrong password. Hold on, let me set my focus. So I have attention on to my strobe lamp here. So whenever it sends an attention tone, which it only does for local, strobe lamp will turn on, otherwise it won't. And then the encoder and decoder are turned off. So what those can do is you can program them to do certain things. So like there's 3 different relays: encoder, decoder, attention, and those, they're just called that. You can set them to anything, and basically per thing that goes on, you can have it like whenever it's encoding an alert, it will close one of the relays. Sorry about that. So, it can close one of the relays. Oop. Nope. And, like, you can set all of them to do the same thing or different things. I have my attention one set to attention detect, or attention send. So, whenever it's sending an attention tone, it closes the attention one. Makes sense. Then you have MSRP. This stands for Multi-Station Relay Panel. Don't really need to mess with that unless you have one of the almost 1,000, no, they're around 150 to, like, I've seen them up to like 700 on eBay. The multi-station relay panels, they allow you to take one ENDEC and control multiple stations using one ENDEC. I don't know how to configure it, so I'm just going to skip that for now. Override use. So on the back of this thing, which I'll show you in a bit, there's a pin called the override pin, and the override use allows you to choose what the override pin does. So you can have it send an RWT whenever you close the pin or open the pin, hold off, which means that whenever you close or open that pin, it will basically hold any alert. Hold off night, which means basically it will do the hold off but only at night. And then active polarity allows you to switch if these actions happen, if the switch closes or if it opens. So you can have it hooked up. So let's say there's a momentary push button. So that way, if you have a momentary push button, so whenever you push it, it's on, off. That means that you can have it set to send RWT, and then have at like your console a button you push and it sends an RWT. Or you could have a switch. You could have active polarities flipped, and then have a switch, so whenever you flip that switch, it will hold off any alert. So that's what the override use does. Then you have RDS options. I've seen this on mine, but not on other ENDECs. I'm not sure what it does, and I don't know how to set it up, because it does a lot of like addressing stuff that I don't understand. And there is nothing in the SAGE manuals about it. So I don't know what RDS option is for. I'm pretty sure it's for like FM RDS systems, but I don't know. I think it goes to one of the serial ports, but I'm not sure. Then you have devices. This is important if you want to run one of the WACN technology loggers. In devices, you can see I've got multiple devices hooked up, and it's showing all of them. You've got none, news, DOS, none encoder. And what these do is these COM ports, or RS-232 ports, 9-pin ports, almost look like a VGA cable, but they're not. These will allow you to communicate with serial using a USB adapter, or, like me, a literal thick RS-232 cord. You can kind of see it if I turn on my flash right there. Yeah, I've got an actual RS-232 cable. And these allow you to set them up. So if you want to use a WACN technology logger, you're going to want to set one of these to news feed, and then put that to whatever computer you're logging. That, or if I actually release LoggerBot version 4 generation 2, that will also be able to use the ZCZC standard. And you've got 6. So the 6, there is COM 2 through 6 on the back, and then computer port on the front. So there's 5 on the back, 1 on the front. There's a whole bunch of different options in there. I would talk about all of them, but we'd be here forever. And then you've got monitor source, which allows you to play, change what the speaker does, or just play audio. So alerts means that whenever this thing is receiving an alert, it'll turn on the speaker. If it's not receiving an alert, like right now, the speaker stays off. None means that it will just do nothing until it sends an alert. Whenever it sends an alert, it automatically turns on the speaker no matter what. Encoder audio in, you can play audio from the encoder audio in, out of the speaker, and out of the speaker line on the back. And then you can choose what monitor you want to play. So if I want to listen to WDFA, which is monitor 2, I can click this, and there's WDFA. So yeah. Then you have levels, which you're going to want to configure this. This is really important. These are your levels for your encoder. And what these do is, going through these, you can set what each of these do. So there's no really... record monitor 1, bear in mind monitor 1 is different than all the rest. It is like the default monitor to record on. So monitor 1 controls the monitor 1 levels, monitor 2 controls basically everything else. So I'm pretty sure that's what that does. Haven't figured it out though. It might be left and right channel, I don't know. So you can set data high, data low tones, data tones. You can see whenever I click this, it'll ask me if I want to close XLR relay. I'm just going to click no because I'm streaming right now. And that will allow you to change your tone. I'll play the attention tone though. So whenever I click this, it'll ask if you want to close the XLR relay, and if I do, you can actually watch my compressor. You can see it's limiting. Yeah. So you're gonna want to configure all of these. These are all based on you and your setup, so I can't really give you tips for these, because I've obviously got a really different setup. You can change playback levels, attention threshold, and stuff like that. Attention threshold detects is like how loud the attention tone, how long the attention tone has to play for before it detects it, and stuff like that. Then you've got megahertz subalert, or I don't really know what this does. So I don't know what it goes to, what it does, so I'd recommend to just steer clear of that. Date and time, set that. According to whatever day and time it is. Timed RWT. Some of these have random RWT. I don't have that option. But timed RWT just allows you to enable a timed RWT and have it go for a certain day and hour of the week. You have LCD contrast, which allows you to change contrast. The higher it goes, the harder it is to read the screen, and you can obviously see turning it up to anything above like 3 means that the screen is basically unreadable. So I just recommend to leave that at 0. You can change the password in admin. I leave them at 1111. And then test. This, if your lights are blinking and you've already fixed all the errors that you have, click reset blinker, and that'll be fixed. You can check your VDS CGen version, which I don't have a VDS CGen, so it won't work. You can do a printer test, a self-test, which is like the boot self-test. Back at it. Anyway, as I was saying, test. Self-test is the same as whenever you boot up the encoder. Just remember that it's probably going to fail this one for some odd reason. Printer test. It just tests the printer, prints a test printer thing. VDS CGen. If you have a VDS character generator, you can find out the version. Reset blinker, like I was saying, if your lights are doing a little flashy, you can reset it. Reboot. Well, it does this. Yep, just reboots the ENDEC. And now we just gotta wait. Okay, we're back. So, as you can see, startup, check some ECCA. We're good. Now, all you need to do from here is, test your settings. So if you set up an origination, you can go to originate alert, go to 1111, and alert from new data or template. If you set up a template, you can just go to template and go to your template, and you'll make your life a lot easier. You don't have to do this though, and you can just pick. I don't want to adjust my template because I know what it's doing. It will allow you to set your time, so I'm going to do it for 15 minutes, and you're going to see my extra stuff. You're going to watch it go through my compressor, and it'll go through WACN down there. Oh wow, that's really not in focus. I really wish I could focus this. Anyway, if I do demo proceed, you're gonna watch. And I'm gonna have to click end. And it just goes back to music. So there's 2 different ways you can run your ENDEC, and this is where we start looking at the back panel. I have to kind of shimmy it forward. So 2 different ways you can run the ENDEC. You can run it the way I am through XLR, and you can run it in a little bit of a hacky way. You have to kind of like turn off the speaker and things, but there's a way you can run it out of your monitor out, so one of your secondary speaker out. So on the back of the ENDEC, sorry about all this stuff in the way, you have cables, lots of cables, a lot more ports than the TFT has. So you have 4 XLR cables. You have 2 in, left and right, and 2 out, left and right. And these are balance connectors, so I know that I'm probably going to send this to my friend DerpyFireAlarms, or Ari, and Ari did say that these are stereo. They're not. These are called balanced cables, and they all have 3 pins, and balanced XLR is pretty much the only thing you can get. I mean, I've seen stereo, but they won't work on anything because nothing supports it. These are balanced. It's got a positive, a negative, and a ground, and the positive and negative are inverted from each other. So if the positive goes down, up, down. The negative would be up, down, up. And if you were to play them on the same channel, they'd cancel out. And it's for like weird audio settings, things that cancel out noise and things. But so you've got your XLR, and then down here you can see your COM ports. You can see COM 5 through 6, or 2 through 6. And I've got my logger on cable 2 there, and you get this nice little plaque in the middle, if I can slide that out, that tell you your model version, 1822, and your number. And the thing about it is they made these in order, so mine is the 10,702nd unit ever made. If these check marks are checked, you do have your NV audio chip. I do not have one, so it's not checked. And other than that, you can see these cables. These are your monitor inputs. People keep coming into my room. Anyway, so these are your monitor inputs. So you've got 3 different speaker cables, and this will confuse some people. And I've got this color-coded. Speaker in and speaker out. You always want this little jumper wire between the two, otherwise your speaker will never work. That is one of the first things you'll do hardware-wise before you ever set up the encoder. Get this little speaker jumper. You can see that it's a little wire that goes from speaker out to speaker in, because there's no internal jumper or anything. And then speaker line out is literally the exact same thing as speaker out. So you can plug in a speaker to that. Other than that, you've got manual override. This is the switch I was talking about that allows you to send like RWTs and hold off the encoder. Encoder audio in, which is the exact same thing as a monitor source, but it doesn't decode EAS. So I could play headers into encoder audio in all day long, and the SAGE will do absolutely nothing. This is used to record audio, mainly. Or, like I was saying, there's 2 different ways you can run it. XLR, which is right here, or you can play music into encoder audio in, set on the encoder to monitor the source, encoder audio in, and then play it out of the speaker lines. Then you can get audio, and whenever it receives an alert, it will just switch to whatever alert you're playing. Although you have to make sure that you're on monitor source encoder audio in, and you want to turn off the speaker otherwise. You want to turn off the speaker at the same time, because otherwise it will just constantly play audio out. Audio commons are your ground cables for all of your monitors. You've got monitors 2 through 6. 1, 3, and 5 are your NWS ones, and then these are the relays I was talking about: attention active, encoder active, and decoder active. And that's pretty much it. That's the gist.
Okay, real quick small note. If you don't have an encoder yet, I suggest to get a TFT EAS 911. DerpyFireAlarm has a really good explanation on how to set that up. I would have shown you in more detail on how to configure this encoder, but I can't take it offline. It has to stay online in running WACN. I mean, it is WACN's encoder. And other than that, thank you for watching. I'm going to be releasing something soon, hint hint wink wink, that will benefit anybody who has this encoder, plus anybody who has a TFT EAS 911, a Burke EAS, a Triolithic Easy unit, including Easy Plus, Easy Cast, and Easy IPTV, and the DAS deck. And if you can figure out what this is, you can mention it in the comments and see if you can get prototyping on this. If you have any of those encoders, real quick, if you have a TFT EAS 911, you have to have a character generator port. If you don't, you cannot use this new app that I've developed. But if you're interested, put so in the comments, and maybe you can get a prototype version. Well, thank you for watching. Do whatever you want. You can like and subscribe, but that's your choice. Have a good day.